Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama Strategy Session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama Strategy Session.
Mama, I know that you're tired of screaming at your kids. I know that you go to sleep at night consumed with mom guilt and shame. You're tired of failing at being the patient and kind mom. You're tired of feeling out of control and daily feeling like a ticking time bomb, and unsure if there's even hope for you to actually feel like a good mom. And you also want to set a great example for your kids, and you don't know where to start and where to go without feeling like you're the only one struggling with mom rage. I want to invite you to my training on overcoming mom guilt after mom rage. I want you to start believing that you are a good mom and stop beating yourself up that you're not meant to be one. I want you to have the steps on dealing with mom guilt. I'm going to help you overcome the mom guilt and shame from a faith-based perspective. And we are going to know how to master your negative mindset and negative thoughts. We will walk step by step and do the mindset work together in the training. I want you to go to the link in the show notes and sign up for this 1-hour training happening on April 25th at 12:30 Eastern Time. Are you in? The link is in the show notes. Hey friend, are you struggling with juggling it all and trying to do all the things and also find time for yourself? you are in for a treat today because Kaitlin, she serves women who struggle with juggling it all and all the things that have to do with motherhood. And she helps moms create sustainable systems to help them simplify their lives and allow them to have time for themselves to fill up their own cup. So today we get to have a fun conversation with Kaitlin about how to be productive, not to waste our time, and to be wise stewards of our time and energy. Let's get into this conversation. Hi, Kaitlin. I'm so glad that you can be here today.
Hey, Elizabeth, thank you so much for having me. I really am so excited.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to do like an icebreaker question first. What is something that you've been loving lately? What is something that's like maybe your favorite thing in the past week or so?
Yeah. I really love this question and I'm laughing at myself with my answer already. It is this coffee warmer plate that you can like sit on your desk and keep your mug filled with coffee in, and it helps to keep your cup of coffee warm so you don't have to be getting up all the time to go warm it up.
Oh my gosh, I totally need this in my life. Like, I'm
Yes.
not joking. So I don't drink coffee that much. I only drink 1 cup a day, but I drink tea all the
Mhm.
time. Like when I work, I drink tea. That's just like my ritual. And I sometimes get so focused and distracted that like there's half a mug left and it's already like lukewarm or cold. And then
Yeah.
I will go and warm up the tea again and add some, more hot water in there because I don't have a microwave in this house. And it's like, then it just like dilutes it and stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
I need that in my life. Oh my gosh. I've been
Yes.
seeing like, ads for it and stuff online, but like totally need this in my life.
I will vouch for it. My husband got it for me for Christmas, and in the package that it came in, so like in addition to the like warming plate that it sits on, it also has this special cover that you can put on top of your mug too, just to
Mm,
like help prevent the heat loss from obviously like the biggest opening in the cup.
yes. Yeah.
And so I haven't tried that part of it out yet, but I was thinking this morning while drinking my coffee, I really need to get that little lid cover out and try that out. So can
Mm,
100% vouch for this sort of product.
I totally need this in my life. Well, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get where you are today? And like, who do you help? How do you help them?
Yeah. So my company is called Think Happy Co. I'll start by answering, who I help, who I work with, and then I'll go into how I got here. So the women that I work with most of the time come to me feeling like their life is running them instead of them running their lives. So the analogy that I always give is, like when you're out taking your dog on the walk, but your dog is walking you instead of you walking the dog. And so, a lot of times that's women who feel like they're just going nonstop, but at the same time, struggling to know how to even find the time to check things off of their to-do list. Or, it's women who are exhausted from juggling 100 different things and know deep down that, that's not how life has to feel. Or sometimes it's just the lady who needs the glass half full perspective. Say that 3 times fast. um, and so that's an example of, women who I work with. A lot of the time, it's women who are ready to, like hit the ground running. I'm very much if you want it, you have to work for it type of person, which I think, shows in a lot of my programs and my own podcast and on my Instagram. So I think because of that, that's the place where a woman is a lot of times when she comes to work with me. How I got here. So really it started when I came to the realization that my 9 to 5 wasn't going to be my forever job. And at that time, I really struggled with figuring out what I am quote unquote good at in a typical work environment. Right. So I felt like, I forget what the phrase is, where it's like, you're good at a lot of different things, but not like super good at one thing in particular. I felt
Like
like
a zone of genius? Is that what you're talking about?
it's like a master of not like you're like, oh, Elizabeth, it's like, as soon as we stop this episode, the phrase is going to come to me, but it's like
Well,
where,
something that just comes easily for you. You don't have to like work really hard to be good at it. Is that what you
yeah,
mean?
I mean that like at a lot of things, I would probably score like a B, but like at none of those things would I score an A or something like that. So I would get like B's across the board, but not an A at one particular thing in a work environment. Um, and so, I'm like sitting there thinking, well, my 9 to 5, this isn't what I'm going to be doing forever. I don't really know like what sort of job I should even look for. I'm not even really sure what professionally I'm good at. Um, but I did know that some things I was good at were just people, right? And managing, optimizing time, goal setting. I didn't realize that I could turn that into a job. And so insert just all this soul searching. And I decided to take a stab at it. So that's how Think Happy was born. Yeah, and now it's turned into private coaching and some group coaching programs, and I just couldn't be happier with making the switch. I left my 9 to 5 at the end of last year, so pretty new into this world of doing my what used to be side hustle as now my full-time gig.
That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So how would you define productivity? Because this is something that you specialize in. How would you define that in your own words?
Yeah. Yeah. So being productive really is just making optimal use of your time, right? So it's figuring out what you can accomplish inside of the time that you have available. And I think that it's very common for productivity to be confused with being busy. And one thing that, I do like to mention here is that you can be busy all day long, but not have had a single productive moment. So I do like to differentiate those two differences with being productive versus just busy.
That is really good because I know like I would sometimes have days. It's like all day I'm doing stuff and then like seriously feels like nothing got done. At the end of the day, it's like, what did I even do?
Yeah.
Like it's like I've done stuff all day, but I don't even know what I got done. It's like I've been
exactly
just like go, go, go. And I don't like that feeling. I like the feeling of like accomplishment and feeling like productive. Like I got something done that is important and that will move the needle forward. That's like intentional and I don't know, valuable maybe to me in this stage in life. Okay. So, do you feel like productivity has changed for you since you became a mom and just how you view productivity? Because I think that is like being productive when you're single and being productive when you have kids is like night and day.
Oh, yeah. The first word that comes to mind when you say this is flexibility. So I would say since becoming a mom and a mom who is, into this or into just, recently starting a business, I have been forced to learn to become flexible with my work hours and just to squeeze every last drop out of the time that I do have available to work. And I think because of that, I have become less inclined to give into distractions because, if I use my work time and fill it with some sort of distraction, it's not like there's anyone else at work to help me pick up the slack. Like I'm still going to have to do those things or else I'm not going to be able to accomplish what I want to accomplish inside my business. So yeah, the productivity has definitely changed since becoming a mom. Flexibility is my key word. And also just, it helps me stay more focused and on track so that I can get all the things done.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like talking about flexibility kind of leads into the next question that I had. What do you do when you set your mindset to be like productive for the day and
Mhm.
things do not go as planned? Like you have a sick kid or meltdowns or urgent things that like, your tire went flat or something like that,
Yeah.
things come up. Because like me personally, I struggle with like if I already see this vision for the day, I do not like last minute change. Like
Hmm.
you have to tell me at least a day in advance what's the plan for tomorrow. Like I
Yeah.
need to know. I can't just wake up and be like, we'll just go to the park today. Oh, we'll just like run some errands. It's like, no, I need to plan ahead. And so when things don't go the way like I envisioned in my head, I really feel triggered and frustrated. Like it really, really bothers because like I envisioned all these things that I would get done. And now I have a sick kid that I need to go pick up from school. And like I can't get the work tasks done that I wanted to. And so
Hmm.
how do we shift into the flexibility mindset? Because it's a mindset shift. Okay. So like what do we say to ourselves in that moment to reduce that feeling of frustration?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I want to say that I think so many women and moms can resonate with what you just said. Like that is such a tough position to be in when you're a quote unquote planner just by default, because that's how I am too, Elizabeth. I have my days planned out. I am not good at last minute changes of plan. It pushes me into a mode of stress very quickly. So my number one suggestion for this is gonna sound kind of strange, and that is to be prepared for things to not go as planned. So
So
much
like
easier said than done.
So like
And
mindset ahead, like before even the day begins, like set your
yes,
mindset up. Like things
yes.
might not go the way I planned them to.
And the thing with that is, however, whatever percentage of time things do go according to your plan, that's just the cherry on top. But I do have something tactical that your listeners can do in regards to this topic also. And so a daily practice that I find helpful is so start out your day by identifying the 1 to 3 things that if you don't accomplish anything else for that day, that you'll be happy that at least those 3 things are checked off the list, or those 2 things, or that one thing. And those top 3 things, those can change with the day, with the season of life that you're in. Sometimes that could be, okay, these are these 3 work tasks that I absolutely have to get done today. If I don't get this podcast episode edited and, scheduled for release, I'm not going to have an episode to air this week. And like, I'm going to be really disappointed. So those are my things for today. Or you could be in a season where one of my things today is taking a gosh darn shower. I've been meaning to wash my hair for 3 days now, and I still haven't had the time. And so that's one of my top things for today.
Just a second. She just had a newborn. So like yes. So she literally has like a 2-month old. That's why she's talking about taking a shower.
Yes, it's so true. Before we hopped on this call, I said to my husband, I was like, Oakley, I need to take a shower today. I need to wash my hair. My hair is making my head ache. Like that is how dirty it is. And I was like, so you can pick. I can either take a shower now or like after lunch. But at one of these points, I absolutely have to take a shower. And I got my shower in. Yes.
There you go. Yay.
There you go. So yes, just to go back. So prepare for things not to go as planned. To help you prepare for that, just have 1, 2, or 3 things identified that you'll be happy with if you get those things done. And something else that I want to say that just came to my mind is give yourself grace in situations like that. It's okay to feel frustrated. And something that I always try to remind myself is that, life is filled with seasons. And just like spring, summer, fall, and winter seasons come and go. And if you're in a tough season right now where maybe your kids are requiring a lot more of your time and energy, just know that that season is going to pass and you will be able to get back to a point where you feel more balanced. And then after that, you might be in a season where you feel like, your 9 to 5 is taking a lot of your time and energy. Well, guess what? Like that season is going to pass also. So that's something that I like to try to remind myself.
Yeah, thank you for that. And couple things that come to mind, like in the heat of the moment, right? When things change and you're like, oh my gosh, things are not going my way. This is so frustrating. There's a few mindset tricks or like statements or affirmations I tell myself that really help me like pass through that. So one of them, this too shall pass. And then the other one, this is what it is right now. I don't like it and I'll get through it. This is so frustrating. This is not what I wanted and I'll get through it. So like kind of acknowledging that this sucks. Like, I don't like this, right? Like if you were planning on going on vacation with your family and then one of your kids gets sick with a stomach flu and then everybody else's keeps getting like, obviously that's so frustrating, right? And like, upsetting. So like, this is what it is right now. I don't like it and I'll get through it. And then like another one that I've been seeing online from like a mom mindset coach. And it was like also about like trying to get stuff done. And then she had a sick kid and she's like, I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Like, because like our mind, like wants to feel control, right? And when we feel a little bit out of control, that causes triggers and frustration for us. That's a threat to our brain. And so then that feels really triggering. And so we need to create kind of like a safety signal to our brain. And what we tell ourselves in that moment will either contribute to more frustration or help yourself like diffuse some of that. And like shifting that mindset is what is going to help you diffuse some of that frustration, therefore help you respond better to how the rest of the day is going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. I am exactly where I need to be right now. I really like that one.
Even though it's super hard, like, right? Like when you have a cranky baby and you thought you were going to be able to get some work tasks done, especially like for me, I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, things are a little bit different than just regular housework stuff. Like you're so driven, you really like what you do, right? And you're just like, I just want to spend all my free time doing that. And so it feels kind of like frustrating when you can't get to it when you really want to. So
absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's like working fills my cup. Like, like this business that
100%
makes me so happy and totally fills me up. And so part of it also feels like, when you're not able to get those work tasks done, like you also unfortunately missed out on being able to fill yourself back up. So that's kind of like a double-edged sword, right?
Yes. Okay. So there is this thing that I saw online by like a mommy influencer, and she was talking about how you can be like, you choose what your priority for the day is. It's either being productive, present, or peaceful.
Okay.
So like, peaceful as in like relaxing and just like chilling and productive, or being present, like fully present, kind of like, I think she meant more like with the kids or just like engage, like being in the moment. What would you say about that? Do you feel like it's possible to be like productive and present at the same time and be peaceful and productive? Like, or she was saying how sometimes you can do 2 at a time, but you can never do 3 at a time.
Okay.
And when we try, that's when we get overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really interesting perspective. I don't really know. So I 100% believe that you can be productive and present at the same time. I actually think that those two kind of go hand in hand. My reason for saying that is I think to be productive, it's most helpful to be present in whatever your task at hand is. And then being present is going to, help you get the most done, be the most productive with what you're working on. And then in turn, because you were productive, it's going to allow you to now be more present with your kiddos and with your family and not being, mentally distracted by work things that you still have to do, or literally distracted by email notifications on your phone. So I would actually say that I think productivity and being present can do work together. I think you can do both at the same time.
Yeah. And I think also how you see of being present. Are we talking about being like fully present with your kids? Because like for me, when I am productive, I need to be present. I need to be fully focused at it, because if I'm multitasking, I can not do either of them really well. Right.
Yeah,
When my brain is pulled in, especially like when I'm like hyper focused, it's like I have to focus. And if I'm being pulled away from by kids or something like that, like I do get triggered. And so that is one of the things that I had to like really work on myself. Like when my kids, so my hyper focused time of productivity is when my baby's napping.
Mm-hmm.
And when my kids are home from school, I don't even attempt to try to do any work tasks, especially anything that requires hyper focus, because when I try to, and then I get distracted and somebody has a need or a meltdown or a boo-boo or whatever, and like I get so triggered, like this part of me comes out that I'm like, is this even me? Like, and I'm learning a lot about my brain, and I sometimes wonder if I have ADHD, but I'm like, my brain really needs like that focus, and it does not do well being pulled in multiple different directions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, it's one thing if the task that you're doing is like more passive and doesn't really take a lot of brain power. But if you are doing something that takes a lot of your brain power and you keep getting pulled from it, that is, not only are you getting pulled away from the task at hand, but that is mentally exhausting, having to constantly be changing gears with what you're thinking about, what you're focusing on, being focused on your work task, being pulled back into mom mode, coming back, trying to refocus on your work task, being pulled back into mom mode. That's exhausting. So exhausting.
Yeah. And it like makes sense why that would be triggering, because it's hard for your brain to do that. Like most of us can't multitask really well,
Yeah.
At the same time. Okay. So what do you feel like is the biggest time waster for moms when it comes to productivity? Because like I can share what mine is. I feel like my biggest time waster is getting sucked into social media.
Yeah.
Like legit, if I just delete social media off my phone is like useless. It feels like right? Like I'm like, what do I do when I go to the bathroom? Oh, yeah, I can read a book apparently.
That is so funny.
I really feel like it's crazy. Even though I have app limits on my phone, like I have a total of 2 hours a day of limit of social media. And most days I get to that. And it's like, wow, I spent 2 hours between multiple social media apps. That's crazy. So what do you feel is the biggest time waster for moms when it comes to feeling productive and being productive?
So our phones definitely are going to fall into this category. I actually think that something that I want to bring up is one that maybe your listeners, it doesn't like come front of mind as quickly as phone, social media, scrolling, Amazon, stuff like that. And it's this tricky form of procrastination, and it's by doing work or tasks that aren't as time sensitive or critical as other tasks that are on your list, but the ones that you're choosing to do feel maybe like a quick win or easier or faster or more enjoyable to accomplish.
Oh my gosh, that's me 100%.
And what makes it so tricky is that we're able to tell ourselves, oh, well, I'm getting things done, That's true. We're getting things done, but in reality, you might just not be getting the right things done. And so, if there's a listener right now who's like, ding, 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 I think that's me. Or maybe there's a listener who's like, maybe yes, maybe no. A tall tale sign is if you feel like you have been busy, busy, busy during the day, but at the same time, if you also feel like you aren't really able to accomplish anything productive, I would say there is a very solid chance that this tricky form of procrastination is at play.
I can so relate with that. Like, my brain just likes like when I make a to-do list, I always start with the easiest, like whatever is easier. So I can just knock it off, like, and have more check marks, like either like on paper or head. So then I feel like I accomplished more things.
Yep.
And then the hardest things are always left. And by the time I get to them, I have no motivation, exhausted, and like, or there is no time. Right. And like, my oldest son is exactly the same way. And I wonder if it's just like a personality thing or just something I taught myself to do, but I'm like, when I do start with the hardest thing, they say like in productivity books, like start with the hardest task. Cause then it like, you just get it done and over with. And then you feel like you accomplished something big for the day. And it's like so hard to start, so hard. What is your tip? What would be your number one tip to start doing something that like is on your to-do list that you have to, but you feel like it's going to take a long time. It feels overwhelming and you're just dreading it. And you're literally doing a bunch of little things to avoid it.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is that you break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces and into smaller, more easily achievable goals or tasks. So like, let's say, let me think about, it's January 6th and when we're recording this. And so Christmas is on my mind still. So let's say something on your to-do list is Christmas shopping. Okay. That is a huge task, right? Like that's a really big task. I know that you have 3 kids and, other family members and friends and a white elephant party that you're going to, and, all of these things that fall under Christmas shopping. So let's break that task down into smaller, more easily achievable tasks. So, big Christmas gift for my oldest son and like stocking stuffers for oldest son, big Christmas gift for my daughter and stocking stuffers for my daughter, stuff for my parents, stuff for my in-laws, stuff for the party, break it down so that then you can go through and still get the gratification of checking things off of your to-do list. Right. And you're taking more of a, you're eating the elephant like one bite at a time instead of trying to just like eat the whole thing at once.
Yeah. Like get Christmas gifts for everybody. That just looks so overwhelming.
It does. Yeah, it really does.
Okay. That is really, really helpful. Okay. So let's do a couple more questions here. Do you do time blocking? Do you use time blocking to be like productive in your day and in your schedule?
So I personally, I have 2 answers for this question. Like you mentioned earlier, I have a 2-month-old. If I did not have a 2-month-old, if I was in more of a regular work schedule right now, I would be using time blocking, but I don't exclusively use time blocking. I think that time blocking is a fantastic tool to use because it helps us optimize our brain power, right? So with time blocking, most of the time you're going to be grouping like tasks together. And that is going to be like a very efficient way to get those tasks done. I also think that it's not the only way to be efficient and to be productive with your time. I've already mentioned another one of my suggestions, which, out of every to-do list for the day, you identify your top 1, 2, or 3 priorities. Another way that you could do this is by working in batches of 3 or 5 tasks at a time. So this is one that I use very frequently. So I'll go through my to-do list and I'll number the first 1, 2, and 3 things that I want to do. After that, after I've checked off the third thing, I'll go back, reevaluate, and number the next 1, 2, and 3 things that I want to do. And so the beauty of using that strategy is that when you do inevitably get pulled away from your task at hand, when you go back to your list, you know what you're working on and you know what you're going to be working on next. That's one beauty of it. The second beauty of it is it breaks up your to-dos to a point where there's easily definable places to take a break or to give yourself a little reward, like making a fresh cup of tea, something like that. Okay, when I finish this next batch of 3 tasks, then I'm going to get up, stretch my legs, get a fresh cup of tea, come back and tackle my next batch of 3. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, I use time blocking, but I also use other strategies in addition to it.
Okay. That is helpful. That is really good. I like numbering things. I really like that perspective. Okay. And then how do you avoid putting too much on your to-do list? Because I'm the overachiever. And when I feel like I overestimate myself, how much I can get done. And then I put too much and then I don't accomplish all the things I want to. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like a failure. I didn't get them all done. What would you say to that?
Yeah. So this is not a very fun answer, but sometimes I think that it's hard to remedy that, right? Because so something that I teach is getting mental clutter out of your head. And, the best way to get that out of your head is to write it down. But if you're not careful by writing it down, all of a sudden you're going to have a to-do list that feels so overwhelming. So rather than answering your question of how to avoid it, I'll answer it by, how you can work through it, right? And avoid getting overwhelmed by it. And so what I would suggest doing to avoid overwhelm is prioritizing that list based off of different categories of things. And this could look different for everyone. You could prioritize based off of importance. You could prioritize based on timeline when things need to get done by. You could prioritize or categorize based off of each child, to-dos that you have to do for each of your kids. There's so many different ways that you can categorize those lists or that list to break it down. Again, what we're trying to accomplish here is avoiding overwhelm and breaking it down so it feels more easily achievable. And for me, being able to look at maybe 4 smaller lists that are, let's say, categorized based off of a timeline or something like that. That is easier for me to digest than one long list that has all of the tasks in it and just feels more daunting.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are really helpful tips. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course. Of course. It was my pleasure. This was so fun.
Yeah, I know our listeners are going to get so much value out of this episode. Tell us where the listeners can connect with you. Where can they find you?
Yes. So number one spot is going to be over there on Instagram. My handle is thinkhappy_co, just CO. I also have a podcast called the Think Happy Podcast, not very creative with names around here. Maybe it's just good branding. I would like to say it's good branding. Website, thinkhappyco.com. So yeah, But definitely best place to connect with me if you have any follow-up questions is sliding on into my DMs on Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Elizabeth. This was so great.
Hi, Mama. Are you enjoying this podcast? If you are, guess what? You can become a monthly subscriber and donate to this show on a monthly basis. And in return, when you do and you sign up, I will send you an email with a free, peaceful, and calm morning meditation. This is a meditation I pulled from my paid program. Anyways, thank you so much for being here, and until next time.
Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.